Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content we'll be covering today will be in the sport of football inside the NFL world. In today's bonus segment, I'll be sharing my top 10 quarterbacks from the 2010s decade. I'll be starting my list at number 1, going all the way down to number 10 on my list. So starting off with number one on my list is going to be Tom Brady. Clearly, Tom Brady deserves to be number 1 on this list as the best quarterback in the 2010s decade. I mean, he won 2 MVP awards that year in this decade, won 3 Super Bowl titles in the decade as well. Known for having that historic comeback, one of the greatest sports comebacks of all time, in the 2016-2017 Super Bowl, where he helped lead the Patriots back in that Super Bowl when they were down 28-3 by the hands of the Atlanta Falcons. Number 2, I'll put Aaron Rodgers here. Aaron Rodgers was very talented at the quarterback position in his prime days with the Green Bay Packers. And honestly, it's a really debatable conversation if he was the most talented quarterback in the 2010s decade. I mean, he won 2 MVP awards and won his first and only Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers. Number 3, I'll put Peyton Manning, 2-time All-Pro, historic MVP year in 2013, one of the best MVP years in NFL history, and won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. Number 4, I'm going to put Drew Brees. He was a stat-stuffing machine, broke several records playing with the New Orleans Saints in his prime days in the 2010s decade. Number 5, I'm going to put Russell Wilson. He was a key factor for the Seattle Seahawks' success, the leader of part of that Seattle Seahawks team, or those teams in the 2010s decade, helped them win a Super Bowl title in 2013. Number 6, I'm going to put Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was a former MVP winner in his own right. Number 7, I'm going to put Ben Roethlisberger. 8, I'll put Phillip Rivers. 9, I'll put Andrew Luck. And number 10, I will put Cam Newton. So I think that's a really good list. Some honorable mentions could be Tony Romo. Another honorable mention could be Patrick Mahomes. Even though he broke onto the scene late in the 2010s decade, he did have a really good year. His first year starting with the Kansas City Chiefs won an MVP award as well. So I think those are my 2 honorable mentions. You could throw Matthew Stafford in there as well, but probably shouldn't be mentioned in the top 10 because he wasn't part of the Detroit Lions and wasn't really losing a lot. But you guys get my point. No playoff wins should be mentioned in this list, in my opinion. But a deeper dive into my top 10 here. Number 1, Tom Brady. I mean, he's the undisputed number 1 quarterback on my list, and it's well-deserved. Greatest quarterback to ever put on pads. I mean, he basically had 2 Hall of Fame careers in one during his legendary NFL Hall of Fame career. And during the 2010s, he led the Patriots to 126 wins, 36 losses as the starting quarterback. That was his starting record, and that's including playoffs as well. So he had a lot of success in New England during the 2010s. 292 passing touchdowns with a ratio to compare to 72 interceptions. And he helped pile up 3 Super Bowls. He helped the New England Patriots win 3 Super Bowls in the 2010s decade. A total of 6 Super Bowl appearances in the 2010s decade. So he was just dominating all across the board. And 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, this man was just dominating. Shout out to Tom Brady because what he did, he built something special in New England. Him, Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft, and several others that played the part as one of the greatest dynasties of all time. And it's based on the production that Tom Brady had in the 2010s decade to get here to be claimed the number 1 spot on my list of the top 10 quarterbacks in the 2010s decade. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. Now, truthfully, it's an uncomfortable conversation for some, but truthfully, if Aaron Rodgers had more rings, I would possibly move Aaron Rodgers at 1 and bump Tom Brady down to 2. That's just how talented prime Aaron Rodgers was with the Green Bay Packers. I mean, one of the most talented quarterbacks I've ever seen throw in football in my lifetime, and I think Aaron Rodgers is special. I think he should be remembered when it's all said and done. Top 5 of all time at the quarterback position, and I don't want to count those Jets days, and I don't want to count what's going to happen with the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming NFL season. But he helped the Green Bay Packers get to several NFC Championship games in the 2010s decade. 2-time MVP, former Super Bowl champion, former Super Bowl MVP, helping the Green Bay Packers win the 2010 Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, if Aaron Rodgers just had more championship rings, I think we would have a conversation to have him as number 1 compared to Tom Brady. But he deserves to be number 2 on my list. Now, number 3, I have Peyton Manning. The reason why I have Peyton Manning underneath Aaron Rodgers is due to him playing half the decade. He only played 4 years in the 2010s decade because, remember, he missed the entire 2011 season with that neck injury, and that's how he became a Bronco once the Indianapolis Colts cut him during that NFL offseason. And then the rest is history because they drafted Andrew Luck, number 1 overall in that draft. But he missed the entire season. But that 2013 MVP year that he had with the Denver Broncos is one of the greatest MVP years of all time in NFL history. The numbers speak for itself. That MVP year, he had 5,477 passing yards, 55 passing touchdowns, and that offense was stacked from top to bottom. You had Peyton Manning at the quarterback position, Demaryius Thomas at the wide receiver position, Wes Welker at the wide receiver position, Eric Decker at the wide receiver position, Julian Thomas at tight end. And he had a starting record of 60 wins and 22 losses, including playoff play at the starting helm for anybody in the 2010s decade. And he rode off to the sunset in a perfect way. Won a Super Bowl in 2015 with the Denver Broncos. So I think Peyton Manning has a rightful spot to be top 5 on my list based off of what he produced in the 2010s, even though playing 4 years. But he deserves to be number 3 on my list. Number 4, Drew Brees. Like I said a few moments ago, he was a stat-stuffing machine in the 2010s decade. And it's so crazy that Drew Brees was doing all this, but his only Super Bowl came in 2009. I just found it crazy that he couldn't get that. Well, it really wasn't his fault. As a whole team effort, it's crazy to think that the Saints couldn't get back to another Super Bowl in the 2010s. But Drew Brees was staffing. He was piling up wins and doing it without a true number 1 wide receiver throughout his whole NFL career. But in the 2010s, he threw for more than 5,000 yards 4 times in this decade. That's impressive and very remarkable. He had 318 passing yards compared to 123 interceptions in the 2010s decade. So number 4 deserves to be really well-deserved on my list. Number 5, Russell Wilson. He was a true leader of the Seattle Seahawks. I know during the 2010s, it was some memorable times if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan out there watching and listening. But I know they had Pete Carroll as their head coach. I know they had Marshawn Lynch in the backfield. I know they had Doug Baldwin, Ty Lockett. They had several players, and then not even mention what they had on the defensive side of the ball. Bobby Wagner, the Legion of Boom, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas. They were stacked from top to bottom in the 2010s. But the true leader that stayed through thick and thin all the way until the end of that decade was Russell Wilson. And he was still putting up prime numbers, and he was a really successful quarterback. Several game-winning drives. He had a record of 83 wins, 41 losses, 1 tied as his record as the starting quarterback. He's a former Super Bowl champion. Probably could have been higher, too, on this list if he didn't throw that interception at the 1-yard line in that 2015 Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, but the rest is history. He deserves to be top 5, in my opinion. Number 6 goes to Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan did win if he won a Super Bowl during the 2016-2017 season, that would have ascended him higher, probably past Russell Wilson at least on my list, but that didn't happen. And I think that would have been historic because he won the MVP that NFL regular season, and most likely would have won the Super Bowl MVP. So that would have really ascended him higher on my list if that happened. But the 28-3, we all know what happened. But he was very consistent with the Atlanta Falcons, did the best he could with those teams in the 2010s. That unbreakable chemistry that he had on offense with players like Tony Gonzalez at tight end or Julio Jones at wide receiver. Matty Ice had a lot of productive years in Atlanta. He deserves to be number 6 on my list. Number 7 goes to Ben Roethlisberger. Now, I know overall Big Ben is better than most of these quarterbacks that I just mentioned, but this is my 2010s list. And if you guys remember, Ben Roethlisberger won his 2 only Super Bowl titles in the 2000s decade alone. So he never won his Super Bowl in the 2010s decade. And he just didn't have that much success compared to the other guys that I mentioned. So I think that's the reason why I have him ranked lower at number 7. Number 8, Phillip Rivers. Insane that Phillip Rivers never made a Super Bowl. He gave his heart and his soul to the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. This man is going to be remembered as one of the best Chargers of all time. But it's crazy that he never made a Super Bowl. But production-wise, he deserves to be top 10 at least. but he's very low at 8 because he only won 2 playoff games in the 2010s alone, and I think he finished with a 500 record as a starting quarterback as well in the 2010s. So I think 8 is a correct spot for Philip Rivers. Number 9, I'll go with Andrew Luck. I just wish his NFL career would have lasted longer because he was really the answer for the Indianapolis Colts at the quarterback position. They haven't got it right since Andrew Luck retired 6 years ago in 2019 during the preseason. So, I mean, Andrew Luck did play the position very well. He was a really intelligent quarterback, great football IQ, good arm strength, mobile in the pocket, extending plays with his leg when needed or scrambling to get the yardage for his team. He just took too much punishment back there, but he did pile up 4 Pro Bowl seasons with the Indianapolis Colts and had 4 10-win seasons, so that's pretty impressive to have him on my top 10 list. And number 10, Cam Newton. I got to put Cam Newton here. It was really a toss-up if I was going to put him or Tony Romo here. I know Tony Romo wouldn't have been the popular answer, but Cam Newton's going to get the 10th spot here because Cam Newton, during that 2015 MVP year alone, that was impressive enough to put him on this list. I mean, that was Superman Cam at his finest. I mean, that year, he had the Carolina Panthers booming. I mean, casuals were even jumping on the bandwagon to be a Carolina Panthers fan that year. And rightfully so, based on the production that Cam Newton had at the quarterback position. I mean, he helped the Carolina Panthers go 15-1 during the regular season, had 2 playoff wins that helped the Carolina Panthers get to the Super Bowl at Super Bowl 50 to play the Denver Broncos. He had a total of 3,837 passing yards, 45 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, and 10 interceptions in his MVP year in 2015. I think that's good enough to make the 2010 list at 10 and my final spot. But that is my top 10 quarterbacks of the 2010s decade. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.